While you were sleeping, Trevor Rogers did it again on the West Coast. 7 innings of great ball. And should Colton Cowser be the everyday center fielder for the Birds? Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. We've been with you all season. We're going to continue to be with you. A lot to cover on this episode. Trevor Rogers continues to be lights out. It's time for the Orioles to extend him. We will talk about that. Colton Cowser getting an extended look in center field. Is he ready to be the Orioles' everyday center fielder? I don't think so right now for a variety of reasons. We'll get into that. Plus, 3 guys coming back in the next 2 to 3 days who should really help bolster the Birds for the month of September as we see what we have going into 2026. Again, this is Orioles Digest. Please like, subscribe, do all of the things that you would do. But let's start with Trevor Rogers, because there's just no underestimating this guy at this point. Let's just look again. I mean, Rogers has just been so good this season. Absolutely so good. He went another 7 last night on the West Coast. And if we pull up some of his stats, I mean, you know, he is the number 1 pitcher in the majors right now. This 139 ERA that you're looking at is the lowest in Orioles franchise history for a pitcher through 14 starts. In history. That's taking into account guys like Hoyt Wilhelm and Jimmy Palmer and Scott McGregor and Mike Flanagan and Cuellar, and you just name the who's who. Mike Mussina, the Orioles, just name everybody that you can think of in this Birds history. And Trevor Rogers has the lowest ERA in franchise history for a pitcher through 14. 90 and a third innings, the .82 whip, batters hitting 172 against him, 19 walks, 81 strikeouts. Trevor Rogers has been absolutely and positively lights out for the Birds. It's time to extend him. It's time to lock him up for next year, because he fits in just amazingly at or near the top of the rotation. And then, you know, if you start to dream a little bit, we have Kyle Bradish back. So now you have Rogers and Bradish up there. What's Grayson Rodriguez going to do? When's he going to be back? Well, we can dream that he'll be healthy as well. Tyler Wells, who we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, Tyler Wells will be back. He could be in the rotation. Albert Suarez. Dean Kramer has struggled the past couple times out, but he's had a decent season. Then we don't know what's going to be. Do you want to extend Zach Eflin and Tomoyuki Sagano? You have those guys too. Then you have whoever the Orioles add in the offseason. So again, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but let's hope that this year was an anomaly for the Orioles, just that horrible start. I'm sure many of you saw Brandon Hyde spoke out for the first time since he was fired. And again, just really talked about the absolutely horrible first 4 to 6 weeks that the Birds had. They just couldn't climb out of it. And so if you look at that as an anomaly and you look at some of what the Orioles could have moving forward into next year, it gets a little bit more exciting. Now, speaking of exciting, we're going to get to Jorge Mateo. We're going to get to Albert Suarez in a moment. But this man, Colton Cowser. So we know that Colton played mostly center when he was in the minors. He then came up to the majors and played mostly left field. But Tony Mansolino's actually started Colton Cowser 13 straight games in center field since he returned from the injured list on August 17th. It's been a mixed bag. Of course it has, but we should point out, StatCast puts Colton Cowser in the 95th percentile among MLB outfielders with an average throw velocity of 92.3. Now, Tony Mansolino talked about that recently, about the velocity being good, but where Colton has to work. And he says, you can see it here. He said, Colton's been very unpolished with his throwing coming here. In 2 years, he's improved. We need him to improve more. I'm all over him every day for it. It's kind of a standing joke, but it's serious, a massive point of emphasis, a constant discussion between him and I and Coach Sanders, and he's doing better, but we need him to get even better at it. Now, the Birds also, frankly, need Colton Cowser to do better at the plate, because if you think about it for a moment, you think about this, this center field for the Birds. Let's get off of Trevor for a second. Think about center field, and you think about most games in center field over the past, decade plus have been Adam Jones and Cedric Mullins, 15 years, or so. So high expectations for center fielders who can field and who can also hit. And Colton Cowser has to work on both. He's not ready right now to be the Birds' everyday center fielder by any means. Could he get there? Yes. Is he ready? No. Is the tryout fine because the season is over for all intent and purposes? Yes. Let's see what Colton Cowser has. But you look at his numbers, he's hitting .215. His on-base percentage is not good. His wins above replacement, not good. He struck out 92 times in 251 at-bats, only 54 hits. Hasn't shown much power. He has 30 ribbies. So again, this is a guy, Colton Cowser, who needs to show more, not only in the field, but at the plate as well. Does he have the potential? Absolutely. Does he need to get better in the offseason? Absolutely, as he comes into camp in 2026. Now, speaking of 2026, could be some good news for 2026 as we come into this week. We know that Jorge Mateo will be returning to the Birds this week. So let's see how Jorge looks coming off of injury. Equally as important, we have Albert Suarez coming back after his injury. So it'd be interesting to see, obviously, Mancelino going to a six-man rotation. So now you have Suarez back. It'll be great to have him back. We know how good he's been. And so hopefully coming off of injury, he's that good as well. Zach Eflin we'll talk about, but we also have Tyler Wells coming back from injury as well. So Tyler Wells back this week, Mateo back this week, Suarez back this week as well. We're going to get a glimpse of hopefully a much more healthy version of the rotation as we go into 2026. We know what the needs are. We know the Birds need most likely another top of the rotation guy. We need a closer with Félix out for a while. We need a middle of the lineup bat. And of course, we have to rebuild the bullpen. So very important offseason, but let's see how the Birds can do in September with a much more healthy version of themselves. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest.